Hey everyone, welcome back to Play Casket with another episode of Your Turn. And this week, not much else has happened again. It's been slow, but there actually was one really cool thing that happened. Limited run games finally actually kind of picked up where everybody else left off with a totally not E3 season, because E3 is officially dead. But then they tried to bring it back. So, yay, whoa, yeah. Anyway, no. So LRG did an event, a little announcement for physical games, which is always good in my book. More physical games, the better. And we decided to watch it before we just recorded. But let's go ahead and run down a couple of things before we kind of just get into the nitty gritty. What was your expectations for that? Just before it happened, what was the announcements you were kind of hoping to see, or what you were just expecting to see?
I would say Metal Gear. As far as they didn't do that, yeah. Well, I guess Konami's like.
I think Konami, since Konami's already publishing it, I think it feels. I feel like it would be a self-defeating purpose.
Yeah.
You know, which honestly, I think they should have, like, if they were having that issue, they should have just made Getsu Fumaden and then given Metal Gear Solid to LRG to do. Because if you're not gonna really treat your franchise good and get the bigger cartridge, then piss off.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, just piss off. Like, your tentpole franchise, you're making that like on an 8 gigabyte card and forcing people to download it. That's such an Activision move. That is garbage, man.
In other words, it's just a download code. Yeah.
Yeah, it basically is. It's an NFT download code. It sucks, man. But anything else on that? Like, were you expecting anything really cool, or were you like kind of expecting like anything in particular that you were like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that, but I could see LRG doing that?
No, okay. Nothing really. Most of it's just ports, right? That get physical copies.
More or less. A lot. There's some indies and stuff that they do as well.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's about it, really.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
mostly because LRG's on the back burner. Plus, it's so expensive trying to catch up with everything that they do. So.
I mean, that's fair. But at the same time, there's not really that many like companies that can do what LRG does. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like there's other boutique publishers out there that will have like limited 4,000 prints of whatever, and most of the time it's stuff that they kind of scrape off the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
You know. But you know, and not to say that LRG gets to pick the litter all the time. And we'll probably get more into that here in a bit, but I'm going to go ahead and share some of my expectations before it played. I was kind of hoping for like them to dig, in the back catalog of like the early releases of the Switch, because I think it was the first year and a half Nintendo told LRG to back off and let the companies do their own thing. And they're like, okay, fine. They had to sit on their hands for about a year and a half before they were allowed to do anything. And I think in that time there wasn't many games that got out into a physical realm. I think a lot of games that were digital kind of just stayed that way. One of them was Hand of Fate, or Hand of Fate 2 to be precise. I'm still waiting for a physical version of that game because I'm kind of hoping that will happen.
Hand of Fate.
Yeah, it's a kind of like a card game type of thing. Kind of like Encryption, but Inscription is actually special reserve now.
Oh, okay.
And that game's already a physical one, so I'm already excited. That's a cool one too. But Hand of Fate has been around for a while. It's a fun little PC game.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah. See. But it was one of those early ones. Like I kind of wish that was that got a physical release, you know. But
yeah, I'm surprised actually. Yeah, it's been out for a long time.
Yeah, it was probably like the third month that it finally came out. So that was my expectations. But when we went into it, what was your overall opinion of it as a whole? Like just the whole thing, like stepping back and looking at all the announcements and stuff like that.
I thought it was pretty good, mostly because they they blast fired through a lot of it.
Dude, they were just rapid fire on all of it. Like there was, I think what was funny, like a lot of people just watch the highlights because a lot of times LRG does some like stuff that kind of drags on.
Mm-hmm.
But like last year we did a live reaction to it. It was a shame we couldn't really do it this time. We just do not have the equipment yet. But last year they did drag on because they had that whole theme of being like that point and click live action digital game thing, and I thought it was entertaining, but it wasn't entertaining enough for me to be like, nah, I want to see more of that instead of games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was I can see where some people are, but it was actually kind of funny that they're like had to go back in time with that like that weird early age schmuck like
time
special
thing.
Yeah, special graphics, special design graphics and stuff like that. I think it was entertaining. It was entertaining of them trying to bring back E3 like so late into the game where E3 2023 didn't happen. We need to make it happen, and it didn't happen. Like we just still walk outside and go, it's gone, guys. But it was a fun one. It was enjoyable. There was a lot of like really classic games in this one, or at least stuff that was like reeks of inspiration of classic stuff too. Like stuff you're like, oh wow, that was
CDI. Right?
CDI. That was one of them. But no, I'm talking about like just in general. Like there was so many.
That was pretty nice though.
Yeah.
Ports, more ports. We could use ports.
Honestly, like we talked about this before. Ports need to happen.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not making this my my favorite one, but this is a good example with the like Castlevania. So, the Castlevania Advance Collection, right?
Uh-huh.
The Game Boy Advance games, the games themselves of those four, 3 of them are in the North America. But of those 3, there's one that's like $180, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Area of Sorrow, but I could be wrong. But literally within 24 hours of that game being announced as a physical release, it dropped $60. Not dropped drops by $60.
Oh, okay.
It may have lowered down a little bit more, but I think it's really funny. Honestly, when you look at a lot of these games and a lot of these collectors and stuff like that, you have some people out there that will only collect games because they're expensive, so they're harder to find, right?
Yeah.
So, I think watching that happen, it's pissing off the right people. You know what I mean? Like, think about the people that are like sitting on like 3 boxes or 3 copies of that. Like, oh, I can't wait for it to go up for another like $300.
I just want a copy.
Yeah, and I'm like, I just want to buy one. Like I have stuff. If you look over on the all these shelves and stuff, there's a couple of things out there that are worth like $800 because it's unopened and stuff. I'll have it because I like it. I like it because it was hard to get, and I'm glad I'm part of that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make me elite. I don't see it that way.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's one of my rare treasures.
Well, even then, though, too, it's like, who's buying? Because
right.
you can have, like, a super rare relic, but if you have $1 million Mario box, 10 out of 10, graded, and it's $1 million, like, who's gonna really shell out $1 million for Mario?
And well, none of that. Like, so there's probably going to be somebody who can, right? Because there's some of those collectors, $1 million ain't nothing for something like that perfect, right?
It's all a scam, anyways.
But it's not a scam if people are getting exactly what they're paying for. Think about it. If somebody thinks that it's worth $1 million for a 10 out of 10 whatever, and he's paying it, knowing what he's getting out of it, it's not a scam. Scams usually are you're paying into something with the hope of receiving something and you don't get it.
Okay, then
like it's
okay. Then it's money laundering.
It's
money laundering. It's money laundering. Then I don't know how else to explain it.
No, it's bloated and it's convoluted. It is that. I'm not saying it's a legitimate practice. I'm just saying like I think a lot of words are really used the wrong way a lot on the internet now.
Oh, okay.
You know, like I don't see that as a scam. I think you can make an argument for the rating system. Like, how does ratings even work? You know what I mean? Like, this is like, are people just willy-nilly tossing these numbers out just because, oh yeah, the acetate shrink wrap is pristine? What does that even mean? You know what I mean? like you can make an argument of whether or not the grading system is actually a full scam, which, you know, that can be an argument. But if a guy's like, oh, that's a 10 out of 10, it has this and this, it's worth this, I'm going to pay that. That's not the part of the scam. That's just convoluted, circular
scheme. I don't know how else to explain it, but basically,
scheme wouldn't be a plan. It wouldn't be like, hey man, like the scheme would be like a guy says, hey man, you get this rated. He will rate it at a 10, and I'll give you this money. For some reason, like that would technically be laundering, but that would be them all in on it. You know what I mean?
But they are all in on it.
Not together. No. Some might be
quote unquote not together,
but at the same time,
it's shady as hell.
That's the same time. Just like used game, you can argue that used game stores the same way because we're all in on it. You know what I mean? Because we're all in on video game industry stuff.
Well, it's demand though, because if you have $1 million Mario copy, like who's gonna buy it?
Somebody you might know, but the thing is. Going back to that, I know there will be people out there, but it's trying to get that connection to get to that person.
Yeah.
And then when you look at it, go, how long will this take? How much effort do I have to put in? How much time do I have to waste? How much and when I finally get it, would it still be worth that much, or would it be worth less? Would it be worth more? It's all tenuous, and like it's really worth. Like trying to get the rare items to the people who want to buy those rare items gets harder and harder the more rare that item is.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you see a lot of people who scalp stuff, just scalp like collection boxes and stuff like that. You know, that's where you get a lot of the people just, oh, I'd rather just make the extra $100 now instead of opening all this stuff and hope to get the $300 card twice and sell that card more.
Or
because then you're trying to find that dude who wants the card. You know,
proxies.
But it's all convoluted and like just ridiculous. But I don't even know where I was going with that.
With LRG
physical
releasing
games,
LRG
but no, like,
keeping prices down.
Well, no, literally
years.
like them. Well, I wouldn't say LRG. I just think porting in general keeps prices down.
Yeah.
If Nintendo released a Pokemon Gold and Silver on the Switch, dude, that'd be insane. Heart Gold and Soul Silver, just straight up the same way it was before, without the Tamagotchi wannabe part of it, and just port those over. Do you not know, like, that's a $200 game. Heart Gold is a $200 game just as a cart alone, and just releasing it that way, it would drop that $200 to like $80.
Yeah.
You know, that would just be so ridiculous.
They're gonna do something special. I know. They're gonna do something special with Gold and Silver.
No, I don't think they're going to. I think
that's it.
I think
they're done. No more.
No, I think they will probably revisit Gold and Silver in a way that's like Pokemon Legends Arceus.
And so they are going to do something special?
No, I wouldn't call it special though. I would like special would make it sound like they went out of their way to do it. Johto just has a lot of time, a lot of like traditions and stuff like that involved in it, and I think it was one of the first Pokemon games that had like backstory lore that happened long before you even started traveling and stuff. Because Kanto was just, we're towns. And we're also getting raided by gangs, you know? Like,
oh, okay.
That was really it. Like, the only real deep lore that Kanto had, like Red and Blue, right, was Mewtwo. That was really it. And you were just reading some excerpts. Like, Mewtwo happened, like, months before you got there. You know what I mean? Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, Mewtwo's origins was the time you were working around getting your badges, ultimately.
Oh, okay.
You know? Whereas, like, Johto had, like, Celebi, who's this Pokemon god of time, You have those ancient towers that have Ho-Oh in it, and
Yeah,
the other
but
one's burned down.
I still think people are going to wear rose-tinted glasses to pick it up. So
Oh, no, they're still going to pick it up. I'm just saying that I don't see it as a special thing. I just see Nintendo and Pokemon Company using Johto because it would be an easy one to do. Because it would be like the back in time type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And basically talk about Johto in the origins of Johto. You know,
yeah.
like that. I'm just saying. It would make sense instead of making another Pokemon Let's Go Togepi and Pichu. They're doing a Pokemon Legends Johto.
Oh, okay.
You know, and then like people would just pick it up. People are like, oh fuck, the origins of Johto. Let's sign up on that. And honestly, Arceus was fun. Arceus is fun for what it is. I actually enjoyed it. I would buy that. But I do not see it of them going to, oh, it's special for Heart Gold and Soul Silver or whatever. It's just, it's an easy answer. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, it's honestly the next best one for Nintendo and Pokemon Company to pick without trying to be super creative. Because there's already backstory lore. Like, the only other ones they could do is Black and White and the, Johto. Gold and Silver.
Yeah.
Like those ones have a lot of like ancient mystery, basically. Like they have a lot of ancient mystery in the game that you never get addressed to, and those are like the easiest ones that they can pick next and go, we're gonna do that. And honestly, I could see them doing Johto just because it's the fact that they're not gonna do another Let's Go.
Gotcha.
Let's Go failed. Thank God. Like that was kind of I wouldn't say nerve-wracking, but that was like that was stressful having to deal with the fact that you might have to mentally prepare for some really, like, Pokemon is very kid-friendly when it comes to RPGs. Imagine trying to make kid-friendly extra kid-friendly.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
that's what Pokemon Let's Go was all about. Pikachu and Eevee, that's all it was. And, I was not ready for that again. But... yeah, I could see them just doing Johto as like the answer to both things that are happening.
So our sales are shooting. Quick, break out Johto.
Break out the Johto.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, like that. Like Johto is like literally hidden behind glass, and like in case sales suck again, you know, in case we have another Pokemon Rumble phase, and like bam, Johto, and people are like,
Is it shit? Yes. Yeah.
You know, and I have a little bias too because like. A couple of my favorite Pokemon are from that generation. It's not even like I grew up, dude. I love Scizor. Scyther and Cleavor can piss the fuck off. I love Scizor. I don't know what it is about Scizor. I like him.
Oh, okay.
Like if he gets added to Smash, that would be cool. You know, like I just made that, and I would just not care about anything else anymore in that game. But like it was. Like it is treated. I feel like Gold and Silver for Pokemon is like Final Fantasy VII. It really is.
Yeah.
Like it's always like, whoa, when are we gonna get that? When are we gonna get these stuff that like highlights Gold and Silver again, and Primo and all this crap?
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Looking back at it, it really is.
Well, fingers crossed if LRG will give us a silver or a gold cartridge instead of just a black one.
Dude, they wouldn't even give me a red cartridge for Super Meat Boy.
Yeah.
So, and I even emailed them and stuff. I was like, dude, this is a great idea. Don't fuck this up. You've made your entire fan base wait for this long. Don't fuck it up. Just do that Meat Boy face on the label, and then just give it like a dark red, like meaty cartridge color. It'd be the only one that'd be that cartridge color. It'd be so awesome. Just don't fuck that up. And they did it. They didn't listen to me. I am a media and marketing genius. You should have listened to me.
Give us a textured one and it doesn't even fit into the game slot, right?
Oh, that would be the greatest troll ever. I'd hate it, but I'd love it at the same time. I really would. Anyway, let's actually highlight the stuff we saw that we liked now that we're done ranting about Pokemon, because apparently I have words to say about that every time. So you're like, what stood out? You're like, holy crap, man! Like, what was the stuff that stood out?
El Shaddai. I was surprised to see it because it was like it's from software too. So
right.
Yeah, Dark Souls fans, eat your heart out. court, sort of.
I guess. Like, honestly,
Well, it's kind of nice to seeing everybody like dive into their library now. Just because after Dark Souls, everyone's like, oh my god, what else do they make?
the thing is, I think not many people people just want to know because they think that there might be more Dark Souls back there,
Yeah, true.
and there isn't. There isn't that much. There's like Kingsfield, and then that one that they did on the PS2, something Ring or something like that. I don't know.
Tower Ring? I can't remember. But,
Something like that. Yes.
one thing is that a lot of their games are really solid, though, or at the very least, like
they're not just piecemealed and thrown together.
Yeah.
Like let's be honest with that. But there is stuff that's like super experimental that just feels very disconnected. Maybe there's just like a lot of ideas rolled into one game and stuff too.
Yeah.
That feels like you're not entirely sure what you're actually playing and stuff like that. There's a lot of that can happen with From Software. They did that with Lost Kingdoms as well.
So let's hope we can see Enchanted Arms. People are still like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, dude, they're like that anyway. And I think what's funny is a lot of these Elden Ring, Dark Souls like fans, they're like, oh yeah, we're huge From Software fans now. We're and like they'll see stuff like El Shaddai and like, nope. Like they just will not touch it.
Yeah.
And like I think them just knowing of it, they think that makes them a fan.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, I remember El Shaddai when it originally came out. Like I played, I don't know, like a level or two or something like that. I don't remember fully what I really played because that thing was like weird, and I was just getting into weird games, and even I was like, that was a big step.
I think I touched the combat in the demo, and I was like, man, this is kind of cool actually. But I was broke, and I never touched it.
Yeah, so I
never found it.
I think it came out when there was just so many better other options out there.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like look how weird that game looks. You know, like how the hell are you supposed to combat like games like F-Zero GX and stuff like that when you look like that? You know, like I don't. And then of course that's like the 2000s when you had to have that 2000s edge.
Well, this came out around the 360 era, I think.
Yeah.
So
like it was like 2008 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was one of those times. Like it was really hard to kind of sell on it. Like what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know. But, you know, it's games like that I'm glad that stuff like LRG is coming out with stuff like this so you can actually play it. Because El Shaddai, it's not the most expensive game out there, but it's also really hard to find.
Yeah.
You know, like, good luck finding it, you know? And a release like this is good for it. It really is.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I agree with that. But, so I gotta add some context to this one because like my thing that stuck out was originally Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, and we're gonna get into the later one here in a bit, but I'm gonna talk about Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. I was excited about that a little too much than I really should have. Like I should just been like pleased, you know what I mean? Like if other things were happening, like, oh, that's neat, awesome, yay, you know, I was so pissed off that Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures port onto the Switch was just the mobile one, right? I was so genuinely pissed off about how everything was preset and all this crap that when Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 came out, it just triggered something in me that to a point where I almost hated the franchise as a whole because they chose to keep that one digital. And I was just like boiling in rage for a while. And then seeing this finally announced, and then this obviously the rage has mellowed, succeeded, and you know I kind of tossed it to the side, but I was just like numb about the whole thing anymore. But like it was kind of interesting because they finally announced it. I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted. You are correcting the you went back to the time, like the fact that the theme of LRG was them going back in time to correct the timelines almost felt like definitive for me, because they went back in time and fixed the physical release of which one should have been physical in the first place. They're fixing it, and I'm glad that happened.
That's good.
So I was like, I was way more excited than I really should have, because just how badly I was burned with the mobile port. In fact, when you break the game so you can see upwards, because it's like isometric, so it doesn't even have a skybox.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, because it's isometric, you're supposed to just be looking down all the time. You can break it and then look up, and there's no skybox. It just gets weirdly jittery and jaggery, and just like it crashes your game. I'm like,
What?
fuck, man. Like, I was just I was like absolutely disheartened. I was sad when that
I want
happened.
my money back.
Like, dude, I almost actually returned it. If it wasn't for the fact I wanted to collect stuff, I was gonna return it. I was that pissed. I was like, geez, it was such a bitter taste in my mouth. But anything else that you want to talk about before I finish and cap off on the other one that I was like really excited about?
Shantae. On
Shantae.
Game Boy Advance.
On Game Boy Advance. The last game, except there's another company out there that's making their own last games too, so who knows what's going to happen.
I might pick this up. We'll see.
I am.
Hopefully it's not just like, oh, it's only in a limited edition, special collector's edition where it's $300.
No, they've had enough patterns to suggest that they're going to have just the game
Just
one
the card?
too. Yeah.
Okay. So
There's gonna have a limited edition, and they're gonna have a basic one. I have done that one of their classic ones. I got the Worms Armageddon stuff, so
okay.
yeah.
But
I'm looking forward to that. That was really cool. Honestly, I feel like stuff like Limited Run, and there's a company out there called Bitmap Soft that's doing like Game Boy games and Game Boy Color games. I feel like this is kind of like a litmus test of, if we go fully digital, there will be people out there that will say, no, fuck you, and go all the way back to like the original 3 generations out there and just make games for them instead.
I think they should, because I remember seeing like once for Dreamcast. I can't remember who they were, because I think...
Dude, wouldn't that be something? Just somebody
they-
just making a Dreamcast game
No, they
from
did.
scratch?
They
no,
did.
I mean just like now, just randomly like, fuck you, just doing this.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I can't remember who did it, though. I'll have to look it up. I'll post it right here. If I'm not lazy, it's right here. Yeah, this is the game. But yeah, pretty cool, right?
Well, there is. I think it's called Xenocrisis or something like that. The company that has that game has put it on everything but Game Boy now.
Oh, wow.
Game Boy and regular Nintendo. They literally have a Super Nintendo cart. They literally have a 64 cart. They literally have a PlayStation disc. They have a PlayStation 2 disc. And they're going all out to get it on
It's
every.
really cool, though. 'Cause,
Like, you know what? That's kind of dope as shit. No, I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of funny. I want to see you do this. So, but I do believe that Risky's Revolution, or what it's called, Shantae 2, the official Shantae 2. I feel like it will get ported over to like modern consoles and stuff too. It wouldn't be LRG without doing that.
Yeah.
So expect that too. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I didn't hear anything." It's gonna happen. It's LRG.
Go get your GBA, suckers.
Yeah.
No.
Honestly, like, want to know what I think is gonna be hilarious? Just like Worms Armageddon. So Worms Armageddon for the 64 was like $170 for just a cart, right?
Mhm.
If there's a lot of, I want to know how many scalpers were stupid enough to like pre-order like 20 of those. Like, think about it. Like, if they pre-ordered 20 of those, right? Now, the demand for the cartridge, people are like, oh, well, it's going to be the original cartridge, so it's going to be worth more. Yes, but you're no longer competing with people who want to just play the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you have that, and you have Worms Armageddon, and like, I want to know how many scalpers. I would love to know that there's like 300 scalpers out there just bought 20 of them each. So they just put like 4,000 more copies just in circulation. And it just drops the price for both of them. Now, I still think the original cart's still going to be on the pricier end. I'm thinking probably about $60-$80 at the end of this, if there was enough people who just pre-ordered it, right? Because then you have like the several hundred copies just in full circulation of the new version because they got to get rid of their inventory to do it again. I think it's hilarious. But I'm going to cap this off on the most exciting ones. I know some of the people are like, what the fuck? Why haven't you talked about it or anything? So they announced Double Shake. Yeah, that's exactly what. No, so Double Shake was a game. It's an indie game. I've been following them on Twitter, and if you guys are into indie games, keep an eye out on this. This looks like a really fun game, dude. Like, seriously.
Very well stylized.
It's very well stylized. I like the character, too. Like, it really has, like, Tomba looks. Like, it's like a mishmash of Tomba and Klonoa as far as style. When that game was announced on it, I was, like, kind of talking about it. I'm like, man, it looks like Tomba. That takes me back. And I was, like, kind of reminiscing about Tomba. Like, man... When is that? Like, it was one of those games that doo-doo, who owns the IP and stuff like that. It's just lost to time. You know what I mean? It's just one of those, like, good luck, fuckers. You know? And fucking, I'm on this like sad train, and then suddenly Tomba music plays at the end of the game. I'm like, that sounds like Tomba? What? And then boom, literally, it's just the first one, but it's like Tomba's intro and all that. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Did LRG did the Fed Boys listen to me again? Like, this is getting weird, man. Like, and it was like I was just so elated. I was like screaming, and like the hellhounds were kind of freaking out. What the hell, dude? Random goblin dude just getting loud. He's not supposed to be that way all the time. And like, dude, it was exciting. And I was like, man, how do you beat that? And then they're like, one more thing. And fucking drop Gex's trilogy. Like, okay, so I'm going to say this right now. Gex, probably not the best 3D platformer out there. Okay? But it was one of those games that it becomes a cult classic because of how many people have played it, because it was at the time that there was no other contender against Mario and Banjo-Kazooie on the 64. Mm-hmm. Like, Sony got nothing. There was nothing to compete with. Like, the only thing that Sony had at the time that would compete with that was Bubsy.
What a Crash.
And no, well, Crash didn't play like that. That was the thing. Like, Crash was more like a course-based like platformer, but there was no full 3D platformer that can really rival what Mario and Banjo was already doing.
Okay.
Like, how come I can't have something like that? Enter Gex. Now, Gex was clunky, played a little rough, and honestly, I think a lot of people are going to be like, what, like the rose-tinted glasses are going to come off the moment everybody's done buying it, all right? I fully know that Gex is going to play like kind of like ass. In fact, I'd be pissed off if they improved it just for the sake of improving it, when they could use that to make a new Gex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want my original as clunky as fuck as the original was.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, that's how I want my original games, because that's just basically like some small tweaks or something like that is fine, like to fix maybe glitches that were happening in the old games and stuff. That's fine. But the way the game played is just because of the limitations of the games were then.
Yeah.
And it still needs to happen now so you can appreciate what they would do for a fundamental Gex 4, right? But the game was like really touchy. The camera was zipping around all the time. We actually know, like, Rusty also even mentions how he gets motion sickness. I told him he can get motion sickness in HD now. But it's a crazy one that, like, a lot of people are like all excited. It's like, oh, it's crazy that Tomba and Gex come out at the same fucking time. Like, that was weirdly, I'm like, what year is this, dude? Like, what is going on?
I guess you could say it's Christmas in July for you.
No, dead serious, dude. like there's a lot of weird problems with LRG that's happening right now, and people are like, you need to protest. I can't protest that if Gex is right there, dude. You know, like, I can't. I am not going to sit there and stand up on my soapbox when they're actually offering exactly what I want. Like, I'm not going to be like, I'm still going to stand for that one person that you fired. You want Gex? I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know who that person is. That person could get a better job anyway.
Well, I mean, for
You
the
know?
most part, don't mix your politics with your daily life, because
Yeah.
you're just be miserable as shit.
You'll always be. You'd basically be a lefty by that point. So don't do it. But I was really elated, dude. Like I was literally seeing stars. Like, how joyous I was. I was like, what is going on? What is this feeling? I feel tingly. Why is the colors brighter in this world? Like, it was wild. I was not ready for that. But like, I know Gex is gonna play like crap. I kind of expect it to, and I kind of want it to. Not to be like, oh, just because that's exactly how they played.
Yeah.
And you need to, and then people do need to go, maybe I didn't really like it as much as I wanted to. You know? But I love the fact they're doing crap like this. Gex wasn't even that hard to find game. You can still find it pretty cheap on the other systems and stuff. But like, doing this allows people to kind of go, wow, that was cool, and or like really appreciate old games. And we've talked about this before. If Gex sells so much for Square Enix, because yes, they still own that IP, Square might just greenlight a Gex 4. How are they supposed to know if people really want Gex, new Gex, without at least testing the waters and releasing something, seeing how that
what
works
if
out?
they put him in Final Fantasy? No.
No! Gex would just be a belt.
Square won't do it.
It'd just be a series of belts, like just on somebody's legs somewhere.
You know that one good IP that's really profitable and really, really good? No, fuck it up. Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm still waiting for Southeast Asia to demand Kingdom Hearts on the Switch, and then they'll have to put it on full physical. It's gonna happen. I can almost guarantee it.
It's only a matter
Almost.
of time.
It's only a matter of time, dude. Indonesia's gonna be super pissed if they don't get it. They're gonna be super pissed. Anyway, probably gonna wrap that up right there. What did you think about the whole thing? Like, now looking back, or like, is there something that you're kind of bummed out they didn't actually announce?
Nah. I mean, just more ports. It's always nice to just see more
Dude,
ports.
they were just porting everything.
As
Like,
for the physical
they're even
stuff,
doing that weird CDI game too.
yeah. As for the physical stuff, I don't know. I'm too broke to catch up with it. So,
But there's always games that you will always make a priority for, like you said, Shantae Advance. I could see you buying one.
yeah.
So. But yeah. I don't know. I was kind of upset that it wasn't a Tomba collection. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Because Tomba 1 and
testing
2,
the waters.
But
Maybe we'll see other ones.
that does tell me that Tomba 2 is probably going to be in the works too.
Yeah.
I am upset that Night Dive Studios is doing Rise of the Triad as opposed to doing Turok Rage Wars like I wanted them to. But that's another story for another day. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank you all for listening to our little rants in our podcast. If you like our content, always feel free to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and maybe random strangers on the street. Who knows, you know? But, thank you guys for sticking it out. And as always, we will see you on the other side. Hey everyone, this is Paraka.
And Ghost.
I would like to say thank you for listening to our podcast.
If you like our content, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe and share our video with your friends.
You can also follow and support us on other social media such as Minds and Rumble. Links in the description below.